Alright. So I've been reading the comments on the previous couple of casts that I've posted on the YouTube channel, and it seems like some of you are missing the introduction. I've seen some people ask, who's the guy commentating? I have no idea what his name is. Okay, here it comes, okay? The best intro I've ever done. Hello, everyone. My name is Lowko. There you go. There you go. I mean, that was so loud, it kind of hurts my voice. I'm pretty sure the neighbors are wondering what that noise was, but guys, it's time for a top-level game of Terran versus Protoss. It's actually time for a German special. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Triton, playing with the red Protoss probes. He's known as the Mauer, the Wall, and he goes by the name of ShoWTimE. One of the strongest Protoss players in the world. He's currently the rank 1 on the European ladder. I know, I like to mix in a little bit of trivia every once in a while. His opponent, playing with the blue Terran SCVs, likewise also from Germany. This man goes by many names. In tournaments, he's oftentimes known as Big Gape, although his actual nickname is HeRoMaRinE. And, well, for those of you wondering, he's currently sitting on the European ladder at rank number 2 under the nickname, and I gotta be really slow with pronouncing this one, okay? His nickname on the European ladder right now, rank number 2, it is Mike Hawk. Mike Hawk. I've been instructed by people on the live stream that apparently if you say Mike Hawk a little bit too fast, especially with like a more American accent, it may sound a little bit differently than someone's nickname being a bird. Anyways, it's time for a very high-level game of Terran versus Protoss. This one was recently played as part of one of the weekly tournaments that ESL has been putting out and that they will be putting out going into the future as well. I've discussed this at length in my previous commentary that I've done of a pro match as well. That was a ZVZ between TLO and Scarlet. In case you haven't seen that one, I'll go ahead and post a link down below in the description of this one. Alrighty, so let's have a look at what the build order is going to look like. Very, very standard so far here by Big Gape, by Mike Hawk, by HeRoMaRinE. He actually, okay, you know, if we're talking about nicknames, right? HeRoMaRinE for like a couple of weeks straight was sitting at, I think it was rank 1 and 2, with one account being called Big and the other account being called Gape, which is pretty impressive, right? Like, he had to basically not just micro the units in game, but he also had to micro his MMR, so his one account would be ranked a little bit higher than his other. I don't really know exactly how he micromanaged it or how he figured that out, but he did have two accounts, one called Big and the other one Gape, for, well, a couple of weeks sitting on the ladder. I think one of those accounts probably got renamed Big Hawk. Or Mike Hawk, rather. Not Big Hawk. I'm getting confused. Anyways, it's going to be a Stargate opener right here by ShoWTimE. Stargate, obviously, very, very popular. Especially now that they've actually hotfixed the Oracle. So there was a bit of an issue going on with the Oracle that Protoss players were complaining about over the last few months. Essentially, with the new multiplayer balance patch that went live, they also, like, changed something to the Oracle that made it less reliable. Essentially, it had to do with the turning of the units. Sometimes it would, like, attack one target, but then face another direction. And oftentimes what ended up happening is that it was tickling other units in between shots and in between casts. So it got a little bit annoying. Oh, actually, the Adept gets in. Wow. That's a little bit frustrating. But it got a little bit annoying because oftentimes you would lose a few shots here and there just because the Oracle was derping out and you didn't really get as much damage down. Nowadays, though, since they fixed it once again, it's once more a little bit more reliable. And at the very least, I wouldn't be surprised, especially over the next couple of weeks, that we're going to be seeing a lot of Oracle play. Just because, you know, it's like an old friend. It's like being reunited with an old friend. It's not like the Oracle wasn't popular here before, but it seems like every single game that I've played against Protoss on the ladder over the last few days, it's all Oracle openers. It's all Oracle openers. Because look, he can actually attack and fight and, you know, move and face the right direction and all that, all at the same time. Absolutely amazing. Obviously, they never were particularly unpopular. They've always been very, very good, especially if you keep them alive. You can use that Revelation spell in the mid-game. Second Oracle will be coming out as well. HeRoMaRinE, though, should be alright against this unit. Maybe one SCV. There you go. Does manage to get one SCV. Not bad at all. We need to get a name for the SCV, guys. I'm open to suggestions. Let me know down below. I know I've been calling the Marines Jimmy because, well, I mean, Jim Raynor, it's pretty straightforward, right? We need a name with the S, I guess, right? Simon the SCV. It's a little bit odd because, well, my name is Simon. I mean, believe it or not, my mom did not actually call me Lowko when I was born. Even though I've been telling you at the beginning of the intro that, you know, that my name is... I'm sorry, guys. I've been lying to you all this time. Now, he doesn't need to get out of here. Maybe I can legally change my... Actually, I don't want to legally change my name to Lowko. That would be something, though. Having Lowko on your passport, that would be pretty good. Especially LOWKO, you know? That'd be crazy. Haha. See what I did there? Okay, sorry. It is going to be a follow-up right now, by the way, in the meantime. On the other side of the map. With a Twilight Council and then also that robotics facility. Now, we do have the third command center coming up here for HeRoMaRinE. Third Nexus is going to finish up right around the same time. Generally speaking, we see Protoss players taking their third base a little bit sooner. So I do like this position here for the Terran player quite a bit. Immediately, though, the probes have been transferred. ShoWTimE happily making some additional workers, and he's now making the transition as well towards that mid-game. So he's just figured it out, I think, yeah. So he just indeed had like a nice little red blip there on the minimap. He figured out that indeed the third command center was already acquired, instantly decides to throw down the robotics bay. So ever since they gave the Ghost the enhanced shockwaves ability, right? The ability that makes it a more powerful counter to High Templar in particular as the EMP spell gets better, right? High Templar have a little bit fallen out of favor, and I don't mean to say that they're completely useless. It's just that we've been seeing a lot more like a couple of Colossus into then a couple of Disruptors. Just because Terrans have a much easier time shutting down those High Templar, they have really been they're mixing in the Disruptor a little bit more, and they've been really going for the robotics bay tech a lot more often. I'm a big fan of it. I was a little bit disappointed when, well, a little while ago, we didn't really see a lot of those Colossus anymore. Colossus now, though, once again, very popular, and I like it. Always love seeing those big boys. Now, because the Colossus is really popular, and you can see, like, it's a very much so a back and forth in these kind of counter scenarios, but because the Colossus play, once again, is very popular, Ravens also have been reintroduced into the meta quite a bit. So, Ravens have a spell called Interference Matrix, as we've seen a lot over the last couple of weeks in the Terran versus Terrans that I've casted. Interference Matrix, it's the third spell right over here in the bottom right-hand corner. It can shut down one of those big beefy boys. It can shut down Disruptors and everything as well, but especially the Colossus, if they are disabled. I mean, look at this Protoss army over here, right? Now, imagine this army without the Colossus. It's significantly less scary. It's significantly less scary. Now, Colossus 2 and 3 are coming up as well. We do have that timing attack potential here for HeRoMaRinE, and he does indeed decide to make a move out with the Combat Shield, +1 Infantry, and Stimpack finishing up all around the same time. Looks like the Adept over here is going to buy him just a little bit of additional time. Actually, wow. Sick duking there. Did you see that? Okay, well, I don't think he's going to be able to make his way home, but that was some nice juking and jiving. It's not going to happen. All right. So this did buy a little bit more time, though, as HeRoMaRinE is going to try marching across right now, I believe. There is that one stasis ward over here. There's one over here. There's one over here, too. But, I mean, by the time that he gets there, Colossus 2 and 3 are going to be out. Yeah, there's the third one joining in just a sec. HeRoMaRinE. Okay, he does scan right now. He sees the second Colossus. I think that it is time, like, he sees the third Colossus. No. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, I think this is the time to go back. This is like the hallmark of a great player, okay? I see this all the time, especially on the ladder, where people are committed to a push. The best way I can explain it is with using, like, a poker reference. I don't really know exactly how many people here play poker or have played poker. But in poker, you have a term called pot committal, where basically if you decide to put in money pre-flop, right, before the cards come on the table, you decide to put in a lot of money, and then you call any bets on the flop. Oftentimes players get curious and they want to sit out that hand all the way until the very end. That's oftentimes where the most money is lost, because you're committed to the pot just because of human curiosity, right? Now, I think a lot of Terran players here, when seeing that third Colossus coming in, they would have been like, oh god, there's a third Colossus, quick, stim everyone, go fight! Oftentimes that's not the correct move, and I think the hallmark of a great player is folding at the right moment and, you know, not trying to get that curiosity, or not allowing that curiosity to get the upper hand. Anyways, we do have a prism here in the bottom left-hand corner. Moving forward, I think that ShoWTimE wants to go for some multi-pronged harassment. I like this quite a bit. Finally, now we see another command center coming up as well for HeRoMaRinE. Although this one, well, I don't think you even want to... Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, there's a bit of a skirmish over here happening as well, so both players trying to be very cautious. HeRoMaRinE does see with that sensor tower exactly where it is located. The command center, though, in the meantime, flying over. Ooh, actually, this is an opportunity for ShoWTimE. Most of the siege tanks here on the right-hand side on the high ground. Still, he doesn't know that. Ooh, he gets shot a couple of times. He's like, nope, I'm gonna back off. Although I do think he had a chance there if he committed. Yeah, I think HeRoMaRinE agrees with me. Decides to send a couple of those tanks down the low ground as well. Looks like the Prism actually is trying to warp in here inside of the main base. Not gonna happen. That one does get picked off. Additional siege tanks now on the low ground also force this Protoss force, the big one, to go all the way back home. Well, I mean, he can try and walk around. Sensor Tower is not done yet. I'm actually surprised with how active ShoWTimE is out on the map. He usually is that guy who sits back. I guess he's maxed out, right? So he can make a bit of a call. Jimmy and his friends. Not gonna happen, buddies. They died. They went up in flames, literally. Planetary Fortress, though, is gonna finish up. It looks like we are just about to have the first big engagement of this game. A couple of the disruptors do get disabled there in the top section of the fight, but with the Planetary Fortress finishing up, right, it's all good. I think I think it was like a Zealot run-by or something that was set up here by the Protoss as well. That one will be killed. And HeRoMaRinE holds on just fine. I mean, I could make a lot of German efficiency jokes right here, guys. But let's be real, both of these guys are extremely efficient with the units that they use, right? I mean, they are, in general, very cautious. Neither of them really sacrificing units unnecessarily. And I find that mostly the German players out there are extremely good defensively, and they're really good at just simply dedicating the right amount of units to the right positioning. It feels like they are especially good defensively. Now, once again, ShoWTimE wants to try and commit. Siege tanks have been cycled to this position. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get in there. Alright, apparently this is the moment where ShoWTimE has decided it's time for the third source of splash damage. So Protoss really has 4 proper sources of splash damage. The first one being the Colossus, obviously, then the Disruptor, then the Archon, and then the High Templar. Ideally, you want to have all of them. High Templar, obviously. The most dangerous one, I would say, but also the ones that are a little bit more vulnerable. Good scan there. It's going to allow that tank actually to get a shot in, but also for HeRoMaRinE to figure out exactly where that army is located. But speaking of an army and its positioning, looks like there's a force here in the bottom left-hand corner. In the meantime, double prism drop inside of the main base as well. This is certainly something that can do a little bit of damage. In the meantime, though, in the top left-hand corner of the map, this is a base that's extremely vulnerable. It just started mining. I've got a feeling there's not a whole lot you can change about this. The Colossus, though, have decided to go all the way over here as well. It's not going to happen. The Medevacs were picked off. Looks like the Prisms, in the meantime, were picked off as well. Both players losing quite a lot of resources, but ShoWTimE ends up losing an expansion. Still, though, obviously, a lot of Terran units actually went down there as well. Still liking this positioning here for the Terran player quite a bit, who's now using those additional resources that he's getting from the 4th base. And now that he's maxed out, I mean, he's close to maxed out. He was maxed out just a little bit ago. He's using those extra resources to build up additional command centers. 3 of them going down here in total. The siege tank positioning is getting pretty out of hand, though. That is 17 tanks. How are you going to push into 17 tanks? I have no idea. Once again, we do have a couple of the Medevacs unloading their units. Tanks, once again, cycling towards the low ground. They're gonna try and see if they can get a proper fight off over there. Disruptors, once again, rolling forward. It's not gonna happen. Army's forced to back off. Looks like HeRoMaRinE, rather than going after the base, he wanted to get a couple of those probes as well, and I think he's gonna be able to get the base no problemo. Little bit of a risk, obviously, because he doesn't really know exactly where that army is located. At the very least, as far as like an army to clean up this small hit squad goes. But another Nexus falls, and ShoWTimE, who's usually very strong defensively, really has decided to go out on the map a lot. Once again, Disruptors move forward. Okay, nice connection there. Apparently, HeRoMaRinE wants to be a little bit more aggressive as well, as he wants to secure a 5th base. This is one of the scariest positions on this map in particular. If you manage to get the planetary over here, you have a beautiful anchor to fall back into, as this is a very tough position to break. And so far, man, I'm really impressed with the way that HeRoMaRinE is just holding on. Playing a near-flawless game up to this point. ShoWTimE, though, he's just mass expanding. He's just retaking bases everywhere. 2 more Nexus, or 2 more Nexi, rather, on that production tab now. Ooh, is ShoWTimE actually wanting to push over here? No, I think he's just trying to bait all of those SCVs to go in with the repair and then blow them up with the Disruptors. Big Zealot warp in here. He's probably trying to, like, catch his opponent off guard. But so far, it hasn't really happened, right? Like, he's really trying to commit a lot of resources in every direction here. Hitting at as many angles as possible. So far, the defense has been really good. But right now, Dark Templar have started coming into the mix as well. Dark Templar, even when you have the units to deal with them, they still deal a ton of damage. Their DPS is insane. And you need to make sure you commit enough units over there as well. And apparently, finally, this is the fight that ShoWTimE wanted to take all this time. He's going to be able to break through the planetary fortress and back off before the army retreats. So the Zealots over there, giving their life for ire. They will be able to sacrifice themselves and then open up the front door over here. Or I guess the back door to kill a base. Okay, so that's good. Now, the planetary, though, in the meantime, has finished up over here on the high ground. Big EMP actually coming with those enhanced shockwaves as well. Removing some of those shields, removing some of that energy as well, especially on those sentries. We even have Shadow Stride coming up. I love it. Shadow Stride is the blink ability for the Dark Templar. It's one of the least upgraded abilities in StarCraft 2. Just because, well, the cooldown of the ability is super long. Oh, big one. Well, actually, well, it was supposed to be a big one. That was pretty mediocre, actually. Once again, though, the DTs have been moving forward. And finally, you know, HeRoMaRinE defended pretty much perfectly for the first, like, say, 13 minutes of this game. Right now, he's starting to crumble under the pressure a little. That's what we see all the time, right? When one bad fight happens, immediately 17 bad fights happen. Let's see if he can pack himself back together, because, I mean, he's certainly not in a great position right now. I liked this spot a lot better a couple minutes ago. He is still maxed out, but look at the bank here of ShoWTimE, right? ShoWTimE not warping in anything here. Okay, finally does decide to add in a bunch of additional Zealots. Immediately back at maxed out, but he's saving up a lot of gas. Now, when Protoss players get to a lot of gas, they can start really building their ultimate unit composition, and usually that's especially based around those Archons. Archons are phenomenal, very, very helpful to have in your game. Wouldn't be surprised if he's going to add a bunch of those on as well. I also wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be seeing him make the transition towards Stargate. Now, this is once again a big fight. Get it together, HeRoMaRinE. 19 SCVs fall just like that. Now, once more, this is because he's distracted, right? He's having to deal with this big Protoss force that has a lot of splash damage in it as well. You gotta make sure that you multitask properly, and so far, ShoWTimE doing an excellent job cracking his opponent slowly but surely. So that's 59 workers going down. HeRoMaRinE, by the way, he's barely been out on the map, right? I mean, we've seen a couple of medevacs filled with units. He's just going for what seems to be a mech army right now. Very cool. So this reminds me a lot of StarCraft 1, where players would open up bio and then transition into mech once they had the economy for it. That's kind of what we see right now as well. Vehicle weapons level +3. We'll finish up here in just a sec. There it is. That means that these siege tanks now deal their maximum damage. Wow. Mass expanding, by the way, is ShoWTimE as well. He now wants to even commit fighting this planetary over here, backing off once again. I think that was a little bit ambitious. Yeah, that was certainly not the move to make. I mean, he tried. He didn't really know exactly where that army was located. Immediately, though, as soon as he retreats, Zealots once again come back in. Very aggressive style here by ShoWTimE. It's not really the style that I see him play often, but it's great. So I would love to see him make a transition towards, say, for example, Stargate, right? So he's already getting the flyer weapon upgrades. I mean, he's got a Stargate, but I mean, like, Tempest Play or something along those lines would be awesome. A couple of High Templar now also here seemingly want to be in that hit squad. Actually, there's one High Templar instead of a Prism here. Gotta keep an eye out on that bad boy. He's warping in additional Zealots instead. That's very curious. Normally, you don't see a combination of the two. Like, we've been seeing more Storm Drops, which I love. I love seeing Storm Drops. But usually it's just like Zealots or High Templar. It's not both of them. Once again. Ooh, we do have a big fight happening here. Here come the Zealots. He's actually not, he's not even dropping. He's not even dropping the High Templar. I guess it's because he's busy trying to retreat with his main force over here as well. The main force all the way to the top right-hand corner. He actually ended up losing a lot of his very critical units there. Looks at the Zealots, though, over here. Will be cleaned up eventually. And that's when the High Templar gets dropped! Oh, God. Okay. That was 24 S. 91 workers. You know what? That was a great move. But ShoWTimE has lost a lot of his units. He's lost an amazing chunk of his army. Like, I don't see any Colossi anymore. I think all of those big, beefy boys get picked up. He's lost a lot of very gas-heavy units as well. 6,500 gas going down. That was a beautiful drop, but I don't know if that's gonna make, like, you know, the end of this game happen any sooner. I mean, killing 20 plus workers at, like, the 7-minute mark, huge. At the 17-minute mark, not as big of a deal, because obviously HeRoMaRinE has a lot more bases. He can drop a lot more mules, and oftentimes this is also the state in the game where you don't really want to have that many SCVs anyway, because you want to go over to mule mining, but it was still a beautiful decision to bring the Zealots only, and then drop the High Templar when the SCVs were all stacked up together, when HeRoMaRinE thought it was already cleaned up. Alright. Man, I love these storm drops. One cheeky High Templar. Excellent. Zealots now actually warped in over here. A couple of DTs also added to the mix. The DTs are working on all of those SCVs in the meantime. Okay, ShoWTimE's bank is depleting, but he still has 1,000,001 gas. Would love to see him add on some more gas-heavy units. I'm quite surprised he hasn't actually added on like a lot of High Templar, say, for example, in his main army. I guess he's really respecting those ghosts. But, yeah, the ghosts are difficult to deal with, but I really feel like High Templar, especially in like flanks or maybe inside of a prism or something like that, are critical if you want to deal with this late-game force. Okay. Oh, you know what? We may actually be up for what seems to be a bit of a base race. ShoWTimE is now... Yeah, he's marching forward. It seems like he's headed towards the natural. Whereas HeRoMaRinE is now fighting over at the third base of the Protoss player. A couple of disruptors blow up immediately. As ShoWTimE now decides to commit to the counter-attack right here as well. Some of the army has returned. HeRoMaRinE, though, is not dedicating enough army, I don't think, to clean up all of this force. In the meantime, though, the siege tanks are marching forward. They're rolling out. They want to go after as many of these Nexi as they possibly can. Some of the Protoss army, though, caught off guard. That one is going to be picked off by that small Marine Marauder hit squad with a couple of those units added into the mix as well. Big detonation, though, and say goodbye to your defensive force. Well, other than that one ghost, because apparently there's no detection over here. Drops inside of the main base right now, though, as HeRoMaRinE decides to relocate. ShoWTimE decides to move all the way back home. Right now, sees the army over in the main base. Does decide to recall some of it. What exactly has been recalled? A pretty big chunk, but those siege tanks are in such good positions. Disruptors actually coming in from the low ground, but they also get blown up before they can finish their Purification Nova. Archon stuck inside of the back of the main. They can't actually move around. He's gonna have to wait until some of his army disappeared. One Dark Templar. Apparently, he's now tasked with cleaning up all of these units. One scan is all that it takes to kill that. Obviously, you don't really know exactly how much he has seen right now. ShoWTimE awkwardly moving around in the center of the map with the majority of his force. Caught with his pants down against that big drop inside of the main base. Finally, looks like the Archons have been freed, but I mean, they're not going to be enough to clean up all of those Terran units. Okay, once again, ShoWTimE, very indecisive, decides to go back. So he was working on these bases a little while ago. I feel like he could have cleaned up 2 expansions in the meantime. He decides to go back over to the mining bases here of HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRinE has got this position on the high ground. It's not going to happen, right? You're not going to funnel units through that little choke. And by the time you get there, I guess he's already going to pick you up and or pick up all of the units inside of the medevacs and get on out of there, right? Beautiful splits right here by HeRoMaRinE, making much more decisive moves, which I like a lot. ShoWTimE, once again, a little bit indecisive, decides to move around over here for a bit rather than going after that juicy underbelly of the Terran player, which obviously is their production. Well, speaking of production, neither player actually has any money, so no production really is happening here. Another base was acquired in the top right, which I like a lot. Another expansion over here as well on the left-hand side of the map. Few High Templar are accumulating energy. This is where they can really shine. As there's a lot of chaos, one good storm can end this game very, very quickly. HeRoMaRinE's army is significantly bigger, but he only has 5 SCVs. He only has 5 workers. They're all actually inside of the main base, all derping around doing a whole bunch of nothing, other than the one over here. This is like the only income he's got right now. 55 minerals a minute. Okay. So, HeRoMaRinE does not know where those bases are located. Looks like he actually wants to take the frontal engagement, which I don't think is what ShoWTimE wants to do. Well, he's gonna try. He's just testing the waters here with one of those big balls. He does have the High Templar with some good drops. Ooh. Does manage to land some nice storms there as well. Base over here is still completely unscouted. Looks like ShoWTimE is gonna reintroduce some gateways on that side of the map as well. Take the high ground, man. I know the Star Wars meme at this point is you know, overdone, but still think it's a good idea to take that high ground. Love the Warp Prism. The Warp Prism here is a great addition to this force. It all comes down, though, to where those storms land, right? He really needs to try and get a proper connection. Looks like, ugh, that High Templar over there doesn't have enough energy. One of these Archons certainly will be picked off before it can finish morphing in. I think there's still 2 High Templar here with Storm available, but already, I mean, the zoning here from HeRoMaRinE has been absolutely top-notch. Looks like ShoWTimE wants to try and retreat with his army as well. Is that going to be allowed here by the German Terran? I'm not entirely sure. Well, he's going to try once again. Disruptors moving forward. Good splits there. Wow. Very aggressive move by HeRoMaRinE. Decides to move forward into the Purification Nova instead. Once again, great splits there. Kills them as well, but big storms do land. EMP immediately does go down on the remaining energy of that one High Templar that remains. One Marauder, apparently. It's got like 17 medevacs, healing it up as well, even though only one can heal it at a time. This one is tasked with killing the Nexus, and it looks like good old Marauder boy does manage to get the base. Beautiful work there. Oh my god, scans are going down everywhere, but I don't think he knows about this base. Wow, look at the map. He scanned exactly the bases that the Protoss is not mining. Terran's still not mining much though. He's only just now, once again, trying to get a couple of leftover resources over here. ShoWTimE does have some money, but he doesn't have a lot of gateways to warp in with. He doesn't really have a lot of production facilities anymore. Ooh, Prism actually gets picked off. That's absolutely massive. Prism in these kind of scenarios is huge. Just simply knowing, you know, that you can pick up your units and maybe pull rabbits out of hats is very, very nice. Okay, so if we have a look right now at the unit count, right? Army value, it's essentially doubled by the Terran player. We have 64 army supply for Terran versus 38 here of ShoWTimE right now. It was a little bit lower before I started that sentence. Okay. HeRoMaRinE, you see the little shimmers, right? You know what's located. There it is. He finds the hidden base. And even though he scanned every single possible expansion over here, only right now is when he finds this location. Immediately, very decisively, puts the siege tanks in the right spot. He's recognized, okay, those gateways are mispositioned. That's not where you want to have them. One storm does, well, not really land very well at all. Looks like the High Templar might actually be picked off as well. HeRoMaRinE, smelling blood in the water. He knows that if he kills this base, he's gonna be in a phenomenal spot. Oh, the Zealots actually charge forward. Managed to get the tank kill. I still like this position here quite a lot, though, for the Terran player. I mean, how are you going to break those tanks? I have no idea. I have absolutely no clue how you're going to break those siege tanks. Good storms do land. Archon does morph in, but it does also die. HeRoMaRinE, after losing about 1,000,001 workers. Okay, I actually want to know, but he's lost a lot of workers. He still obtains the victory in a very well-played macro game. Oh, wow. Well, would you look at that? Over 200 workers fell in this one Terran versus Protoss. That's crazy. Well, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next one.